Incompetence, a word many would use to describe the majority of the moves the Knicks front office has made in the past 10 years or so. However, something has clicked for the Knicks. Recently, they have made great move after great move, leading to the current day where the Knicks are securely a playoff team. The New York Knicks are finally good at basketball, and it doesn't seem like a whim, but instead a team built to win year over year. Welcome back, and today we are going to be taking a deep dive into how this front office has corrected its mistakes in the recent years, and more specifically, how they've been perfect in the 2023-2024 NBA season. The turnaround of the Knicks began in the 2020 offseason. On March 2nd, 2020, Leon Rose was hired as the Knicks president of basketball operations. Later in the offseason, Tom Thibodeau was hired by the Knicks to be their next head coach. Being a Wolves fan, I saw how Tibbs worked in Minnesota and his obsession with his former Bulls, and didn't have high expectations. Leon's first move as the president of basketball operations was the 2020 NBA draft, in which the Knicks selected Obi Toppin with the number 8 pick and Leonardo Bolmaro with pick number 23. However, they ended the night by flipping Bolmaro and others for Emmanuel Quickley, who was taken by OKC at number 25. While Toppin may have been a miss looking back, with guys like Tyrese Haliburton and Devin Vassell taken shortly afterwards, the hype for Toppin at the time was real, and most mock drafts had him as a top 5 pick, and none I could find had him slipping below number 8, which is where the Knicks took him. The really elite move by the Knicks front office was scooping up Quickley. As we all know, and as we'll cover later, Quickley's production was a major reason why the Knicks are in the position they are in now. As for the rest of the offseason, the Knicks signed Alec Burks, Nerlens Noel, Alfred Payton, and Austin Rivers, as well as trading Ed Davis to Minnesota for Jacob Evans and Amari Spellman. The Knicks starting 5 for the 2020-21 season was Alfred Payton, Reggie Bullock, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, and Mitchell Robinson, who by February was replaced by Nerlens Noel. They finished as the 4th seed in the East with a 41-31 record. This was the Julius Randle breakout season, as he posted career highs in points, assists, rebounds, and three-point percentage, as well as leading the league in minutes played. RJ Barrett in year 2 progressed well, contributing to winning basketball and posting improved stats across the board, improved shooting splits, and improved per 36 numbers. Derrick Rose, who was acquired in February for Dennis Smith and a second-round pick, was the team's 3rd leading scorer, averaging just under 15 in his 35 games in New York. With the emergence of Randle as a bona fide star, Toppin was forced to a smaller role, and it was clear from the beginning that Toppin was going to be a bust of some sort. I don't like to throw around the bust label a lot, and I think Toppin's growth was somewhat stunned by this emergence of Randle, as well as a calf injury limiting his opportunities. However, Quickley was no doubt the better rookie, playing 20 minutes a game and putting up 11 a night on decent efficiency. Year 1 of the new era of the Knicks was off to a great start, ending a 7-year playoff drought and looking strong. However, a first-round loss to the Hawks in 5 games ended the season in an unflattering fashion. Game 1 and Game 2 at the Garden were close, and heading to Atlanta with a 1-1 split, this was the best it would get for the Knicks, losing the next 3 games all by double digits. Leon Rose went back to work with another solid draft in the 2021 NBA draft, holding on the picks 19, 21, 32, and 58. The Knicks drafted Kai Jones at 19, Keon Johnson at 21, Jeremiah Robinson-Earl at 32, and Jericho Sims at 58. Keon Johnson was shipped off to the Clippers for Quentin Grimes, who was pick number 25, and a 2024 second-round pick. Jeremiah Robinson-Earl traded to OKC for Miles McBride, who was selected at 36, and the 34th pick who was not played in the NBA. Kai Jones was sent to the Hornets for a 2023 conditional first-rounder. Jericho Sims was the only draftee to actually suit up for the Knicks. For a very late pick, Sims working out at all for the Knicks has been an absolute steal. Overall, walking away with the draft class of Miles McBride, Jericho Sims, and Quentin Grimes is a solid class for the positions they are taken at. Grimes was taken before Bones Highland and Cam Thomas, but I don't think he was a terribly worse pick, especially considering that he was not their own pick and instead a player that they traded for. The 2021 offseason was also a massive offseason for New York. Here's a list of everyone who the Knicks lost, which was headlined by Reggie Bullock, Frank Ntilikina, and Alfred Payton. So, no major losses. The Knicks re-signed Nerlens Noel, Alec Burks, Derrick Rose, and Taj Gibson, as well as extending Julius Randle to a max contract. New York then went and got Evan Fournier through a sign and trade with Boston and signed Kemba Walker to a 2-year, $17 million deal. Remember, at the time, Kemba was still near a 20-point per game scorer and just 1 year removed from his last All-Star appearance. This was a massive pickup for New York at the time and a step in the right direction. However, the 2021-22 season was a step back for the Knicks, finishing 37-45 and missing the playoffs. The opening night starting lineup of RJ Barrett, Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, Julius Randle, and Mitchell Robinson started 24 games together and went 11-13. The most common and successful starting five removed Kemba for Alec Burks. That group started 25 games together and finished just above 500. Kemba just didn't work out in New York. Knee issues that plagued his career arose again, and after just 37 games, Walker's career with his hometown team and basically his NBA career was over. In those 37 games, Walker's numbers dropped drastically compared to the year before. Walker averaged just 12 points and 2 assists in 25 minutes a game. Quickly saw an increased role and solidified himself as an up-and-coming young star and a great sixth man. RJ Barrett made the jump to become a 20-point per game guy, joining Randle as the only two Knicks to average over 20 that season. Randle actually took a step back, with most of his averages dropping from the year prior. Mitchell Robinson made the jump to consistent starter for the Knicks, one of the gems from the pre-Rose Tibbs era. This season, while having bright spots with their young core progressing, was overall a failure. Kemba was brought in to help this team make the jump to a contender and instead was a non-factor and shut down midway through the season. Randle's backslide caused some concern heading into the 2022 offseason. The 2022 draft was the worst draft of Leon Rose's career, as with picks 11 and 42, the Knicks selected Ousmane Deng and Trevor Keels. To keep it short, Keels played 3 games for the Knicks, and Deng was traded to the Thunder for a future pick. The Knicks had Jalen Duren in their lap from a trade with the Hornets, who took him at 13. Those of you who have been around for my 2K days and all my 2K rebuilds know Jalen Duren has a special place in my heart. He could have been a great young piece for this Knicks squad, but instead, he was shipped off with Kemba Walker to Detroit. This trade was pretty much the nail in the coffin for Walker's NBA career, and ended what I think is one of the few mistakes of Leon Rose's tenure with the Knicks. Quickly after the draft, Alec Burks and Nerlens Noel were also traded to Detroit to shed their contracts. The 2022 offseason is really where things made a permanent change toward contention. Jalen Brunson was a major target for the Knicks, so much so that they lost a future pick in a tampering case. Players and executives sat courtside during the Mavs playoff run to watch Brunson. The Knicks even hired Brunson's father to be an assistant coach. They did not even try and hide their courting of Brunson, and it paid off. Brunson signed with the Knicks for a 4-year, $104 million contract. As we know, and we will see soon, this measly 2025 second rounder that the Knicks had to give up was more than worth it for what Brunson has brought. The Knicks also signed Isaiah Hartenstein and Svi Malachi in free agency and lost Taj Gibson to the Wizards. The 2022-23 season was off to a solid start, as nearing the trade deadline, the Knicks sat at 30-26. The new core of Brunson, Randle, Barrett, and Moore was clicking and was off to a great start. Brunson to this point was averaging 23 points and 6 assists, having a massive breakout year. On February 9th, 2023, the Knicks pulled off a trade to bring Villanova Wildcat teammates and roommates back together. The 3 players, headlined by Cam Reddish alongside a 2023 first-round pick, were all traded in a massive trade that eventually landed the Knicks Josh Hart. Hart has been massive for the Knicks since this trade. The Knicks finished the 2022-2023 season 17-9 and finished with an overall record of 74-35, locking up the 5th seed. Randle returned to All-Star form. Quentin Grimes made a massive jump in year 2, starting 66 games and locking down the starting 2-guard position for the year. Quickly also made a jump and was runner-up for 6th man of the year. The Knicks looked strong heading into the playoffs and took care of business in round 1 versus the Cavs. This whole series was a defensive battle, and as a fan of basketball, it was kind of fun to see. The 107 points the Cavs scored in Game 2, their only win, was the most scored by either team in this series. After Game 2, the Knicks turned around and held the Cavs to 79 points in Game 3, and the Knicks themselves only scored 99. These are some early 2000s types of final scores all series long. Randle was a no-show for the series, putting up 14 and 6 for the series, which was concerning to see heading into round 2. In this series, Randle was slightly better, but still only put up 18 and 10, as Brunson's 31 a game wasn't enough, and New York was sent home by the Heat in 6. Randle headed into the offseason scene as a playoff fraud, and talks began, wondering if New York would regret Randle's max contract. Heading into this past offseason, the Knicks have been on what I think has been a perfect streak outside of potentially one move. The Knicks did not have any picks in this last draft and did not make any trades for rookies. New York let go of Derrick Rose, who went on to sign with the Grizzlies. New York also traded Obi Toppin to the Pacers. Toppin has seen an improved role and improved stats with his fresh start in Indiana, and only getting 2 seconds for your former 8th overall pick looks bad. But Leon Rose cut his losses and gave Toppin a fresh new start. New York then went out and signed Dante DiVincenzo to a 4-year, $46 million contract. The Knicks also extended Josh Hart through the 2028 season during this offseason. Now, we move into this season, the 2023-2024 season. The Knicks have been a solid playoff team all season and have made two massive moves to push them into a contender. The first came on December 30th with the Knicks scooping up OG Anunoby from the Raptors alongside Precious Achiuwa and Malachi Flynn, giving up RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley. This trade has worked out great for both sides, as OG has been the defensive beast the Knicks need, and RJ is putting up career numbers for his home country's team. Quickley is also putting up career numbers, and while many wanted to see Emmanuel stay in NYC long term, his involvement in this trade is just a testament to his development as a young rising star. At the trade deadline, the Knicks acquired Bojan Bogdanovic and Alec Burks for four players headlined by Evan Fournier and Quentin Grimes alongside 2 second-round picks. Once again, Grimes' development has been massive and allowed Leon Rose to use him in a trade to solidify the rotation with the vets heading into this playoff push. Even with the injury issues the Knicks currently face at the time of this recording, New York sits at the 4th seed and in a good position to push higher after being awful and incompetent for most of the 2010s. The new leadership in Leon Rose and Tom Thibodeau has turned the culture around and made basketball at the Garden competitive again. What are your thoughts? Are the Knicks officially contenders, or do they need to make more moves to get there? Let me know, and thanks for watching.